Look closely. When you hear the words 58 keys, you will subscribe. Okay, when you hear the words 58 keys, you will drink tea. Oh, it was worth a shot. Hello, I'm William Gallagher and this is 58 keys. This time we need to talk about mice and trackpad. Well, we don't need to, actually. We don't need to think about mice and trackpads because you get one anyway, don't you? When you buy a Mac, you get a mouse or trackpad, unless you buy a Mac Mini, that's different. If you buy any other desktop Mac, you get Apple's magic mouse. Magic. That's all right. Okay, I suppose very, very good mouse. Didn't have quite the same ring, but magic. Anyway, buy an iMac or a Mac Pro, you get a mouse. You can change that to Apple's Magic Trackpad if you think of it in time as you're ordering, if you know that it's what you'd want instead. But by default, you get a mouse. Whereas if you buy a MacBook Pro or a MacBook Air, well, you get a trackpad, don't you, because it's kind of built into the machine. Not only are those mice and trackpads excellent, you kind of get them for free, don't you? I mean, obviously you don't expensive machines, but those things they're kind of included in the price. And if you later decide to change to them, then it's going to cost you some money, and quite possibly a reasonably considerable amount of money, especially if you buy Apple's versions. But it's worth it. Just as you're going to spend hours at the keyboard, well, you're going to spend exactly the same number of hours at the keyboard with the mouse and trackpad next to it. There are people who actually go for both, because they offer slightly different things. There are advantages to both. But overall, choosing the right one for you, mouse or trackpad, and then choosing the right type of mouse as well, is going to change how you use your Mac, or certainly how long you use your Mac. It's the difference between being comfortable using the Mac for extended periods and not. And if there's anything writers have in common, it's whatever we're writing, we're spending a lot of hours at our Mac keyboard. I keep saying Mac though. I do also mean the MacBook Pro and the MacBook Air, because yeah, all right, there's the trackpad, it's in there and it's permanently in there, but there is nothing at all to stop you plugging in an external mouse, and there are reasons to do it. So let me tell you those reasons. Let me basically say what trackpads and mice are meant to give you, but then also talk about the costs of them. And there are reasons to go away from Apple's to find alternatives to it, and you mustn't let me go without telling you about a particular app that I think makes especially trackpads but also mice better. Mice and trackpads, I mean, come on, you use them to move the cursor around, to click on things, to select things, to drag things. Yeah. What a mouse gives you more than a trackpad is finer control. If you for some reason chose to edit a pixel in a Photoshop image, that's the thing you'd use. The mouse would help you do it. I mean, there are also graphics tablets and pens and things, but out of mouse and trackpad, mouse gives you finer control. What a trackpad gives you is it's this nice wide flat surface that lets you go from the keys and swipe across and make gestures. So actually, just as you would on an iPhone or an iPad, you can pinch in and out on the trackpad to zoom in and out of images or documents or websites. Swipe across a trackpad at just the right point and you can open the Mac's notification center. Swipe down with 4 fingers and you can see all of the open windows in all of the apps you're using in the Mac at the moment and nip between them. I actually deeply prefer trackpads. I love the Magic Trackpad, especially because it's very big, very broad. I enjoy how I can just casually go from the keys and swipe across and select and tap. So a mouse has precision, a trackpad has great gesture controls, except it's not quite as simple as that. It's almost as simple, but yeah, there's a bit of overlap. A reason Apple calls its mouse the Magic, well, it's because they weren't allowed to call it Mighty Mouse actually, but another one is that it supports some gestures. Just as a trackpad does, you can swipe your fingers across the surface of the mouse to perform certain tasks. I mean, not as many as on the trackpad, but more than I would have expected, because I'm used to mice just being you push and you move and you click. Yeah, I'm not actually that keen. I know this is just me, but I find I forget that I can use the gestures, and I'm not sure, have I done it right? Am I using the wrong gesture? Have I just not moved it enough? It's a weird thing to say, but it feels more contrived swiping on a mouse, whereas on a trackpad it's just normal. That is just me, and that is not everyone else's complaint. Everyone else's complaint is about how you charge Apple's Magic Mouse. You charge it by plugging a lightning cable in to the underside of it. And it's true, you can't actually use the mouse whilst you charge it up. Whereas with the trackpad, as I have, you plug the cord in the back, you carry on, you forget it's even doing it. This has been described as the greatest design flaw in Apple history. And, oh, come on. Yeah, every couple of months, your Mac says, oi, battery's a bit low on that mouse, isn't it? So you plug a lightning cable in for a minute, you scratch your nose, maybe you make a cup of tea, you come back, and after just a few minutes of it, there's enough charge in that mouse to take you through the rest of the day. And then at the end of that rest of the day, you plug the lightning cable in overnight, you go away, you come back tomorrow. It's going to be another few months before you see it. I cannot see that is a big deal, but a lot of people really do. Actually, they rant about it. I want to rant. Do you want to know about bad Apple mouse design? The Radio Times magazine here in the UK used to have one iMac that was a spare. It was used as a hot desk. And I sat down to do an afternoon's work one day, and I swear to you, everyone in the art department stopped their work to watch me sit down with, I mean, I don't think they did a betting pool on it, but they could have done. How long is it going to take him to complain about the mouse? It was an awfully long time ago now, but I think it came in at under 7 seconds, because that spare Mac, it was one of the original iMacs, and so it had one of the famous original iMacs, but it had one of the infamous original iMac mouse. It's known as a Hucky Puck mouse. It was desperately hard to use. It's so small around, you cramped your hands to do it, to use. And actually, all these years later, even though every mouse is much better than that one was, that cramping, that comfort, that's actually still a reason to swap from one mouse to another, or from mouse to trackpad. I happen to find mice a little uncomfortable to use compared to the trackpads anyway. I mean, slightly cramped. I mean, it's fine, but it's not great. And oddly though, I have friends who are exactly the opposite way around. They find the flat surface of the trackpad, that hurts their hands. Every writer is different, but every writer needs to find the right mouse or trackpad, needs to find a device that you are comfortable with. That's why I think it's worth spending money to look into this. Speaking of spending money, if you want to buy Apple's Magic Mouse on its own, it's £79 or $79. The Magic Trackpad, well, it's more. Again, on its own, it's £129 or $129. You can get them for less at times from Amazon. And actually, as I record this, June 2021, Amazon is just about the only place where you can still buy the Magic Mouse and the Magic Trackpad in space grey colour. Apple stopped selling those last week, and stocks are going to run out. I mean, they're running out so quickly that you might even be gone from Amazon by the time we finished this sentence. Anyway, the space grey ones, they're not cheap, but neither are the white ones that Apple is continuing to sell and that Amazon will continue to sell as well. Given that you're going to be using these very many hours a day for hopefully very many years, I don't think there is any question that they are worth the money, but I also don't think there's any question that neither of them is exactly a casual throwaway purchase. This is one case where I think trying them and returning them if they're wrong for you is kind of essential. There is this other alternative to Apple's stuff, and actually there are reasons to look into buying non-Apple mice and things, quite apart from the money. I should say I just can't find an alternative, a decent alternative to Apple's Magic Trackpad. If you know of an alternative, would you let me know in the comments below? I'm lost. Whereas with mice, there's countless mice, and the prices start from as low as a penny. Seriously, I looked this up on Amazon to try to find one for you, and there were two of them on there for a penny. How's that physically possible? I bet there's got to be some sort of trick here, like it only works with one Windows PC from 1972 or something. But for a penny, you can kind of take a punt, can't you? Price isn't the issue. I mean, from a penny, I think you can go into hundreds of pounds for this. Price is an issue, but it's not the only issue. The reason that all of these mice can exist really is that they offer different things. Specifically, they offer different ergonomics. Now, to me, a mouse, I always think of it as this quite flat surface that I move around, but you can get a mouse that's more sideways, that you can handle that way for it, and it can be better for your grip and your hand. The Logitech MX Master 3 is apparently a little like that, costs about £90 or $100. I'm not in the market for a mouse. I so much prefer a trackpad, so I haven't tried that. But that's one of many sideways grips ones or slightly elevated grip ones that have been recommended to me a lot. Actually, if I can't show you an alternative to Apple's trackpad, you've got to let me show you this. I mentioned an app. This is actually an app that works on mice as well as trackpads, but it's particularly good for trackpads. It's called Better Touch Tool. Again, yeah, like I say, this will do some things. There are lots of things actually if you've got a mouse, but it's fantastic on the trackpad because using Better Touch Tool, you can set it so that tapping 3 fingers at the top left opens a particular app, that swiping a finger across a certain point starts a new email, and do a gesture to turn on Do Not Disturb. You know, when you're trying to concentrate on your writing, quick flick on it, Do Not Disturb is on. Equally, you could make I think, easier to remember gesture to bring up Notification Center and see what you missed during Do Not Disturb. Better Touch Tool does so much, offers so much, adds so much that I think it takes the Apple Magic Trackpad and kind of brings it to life. Better Touch Tool costs from $8.50 directly on the developer's website, which I can't pronounce. So it's please read it. It'll be in the link in descriptions as well. Or you can get it from Setup, which is the $10 a month subscription service where you can get Better Touch Tool and a couple of hundred other apps. That one I can pronounce. It's on setup.com. And that would be it for this edition, except this is new. Thank you very much to the UK's Arts Council. They've awarded me a grant to help develop 58 keys. Anyway, which means that thanks to them, you are going to be seeing more interview episodes that are currently in progress, working on those. And I'm planning more episodes that are delving into big writing issues. Cannot wait to show you those. In the meantime, though, thank you for watching this edition. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you soon.